Hello everyone, welcome back to Swans Cast, where I am joined once again for another pre-match video, this time by Conor, who is a Blackpool fan, and you'll have to remind me what your podcast is called, because it's just slipped my mind, and we would like to know where we can find you.
Absolutely, I am a regular on the Seasiders Podcast, which is the main Blackpool fan podcast, doing much similar to yourself, kind of match reactions, match previews, and the like.
Definitely the main one, so go and check that out. I jumped on with you, I think, sometime last year. Rushing straight over from work, just slipped my mind the name, but thanks for reminding us. So, I'm sure some of them will go and say hello.
Please do.
I would like to speak to you today a little bit about how you're getting on as as a Blackpool fan and how the team's doing. So, I think what we've done in the past on the podcast, we always do pre-match discussions. We always do looking up to the game, trying to get myself and Lee get our little bit of analysis on what's going on. But I'd be lying if I said that I know everything that's happening with all the other teams in the league. So I just want to know a little bit more about Blackpool this time, how things are looking for yourselves, maybe what happened in the summer and how you've got on so far this season. So let's start with the summer. Did you have much change? Was there any key transfers coming in or out that we should be aware of?
A lot of change in the summer. Kind of the biggest one actually being managerial related, in that kind of about a month into the summer, Neil Critchley decided that he would rather pursue a life as assistant coach at Aston Villa rather than be head coach at Blackpool FC, which, given how highly a lot of Blackpool fans held Neil Critchley, and also given the fact he'd recently signed a contract until 2026, came as quite a surprise to a lot of us. I think certainly the fan base did the full kind of 7 stages of grief. Spent a long time on the anger part, I think a lot of fan bases do. And now we are adjusting to life under Michael Appleton, who I think headline probably promised a very similar style to Critchley in terms of short passing, reasonably possession-based game, trying to be in control of matches, kind of positive football. How that's come out under practice is yet to be seen. We've played 5 hours of competitive football and only scored 1 goal. But there is, to your point, a lot of activity now. I feel like now Appleton's got his feet under the desk, there is a lot of activity accelerating. We've seen some good, promising young loanees come in. Charlie Patino from Arsenal, very, very highly rated. Like, he can barely touch the ball without kind of 7 million Arsenal Academy fan accounts kind of asking Blackpool fans how he's doing, which is quite a weird sensation.
That's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah, It's like it feels like Charlie Patino has more followers than most championship clubs. Like, slightly bizarre. And then we've got, a midfielder called Luis Fiorini from City, who again is technically excellent as you'd expect, and Reece Williams as well from Liverpool.
We know all about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Who I don't think has. I was expecting the worst, particularly based on lots of reviews of Swansea fans, but hasn't put too much of a foot wrong yet, other than the fact that he's allegedly a Preston fan, and that hasn't gone down very well.
Well, yeah, he's not. He wasn't awful. He just had a bad period here, really. And there was an incident quite early in his season with us of racial abuse. I'm not sure how much maybe that might have had an impact on him performing then when he was on the pitch thereafter, because he wasn't like a regular starter. He was, a squad player. And I'm not sure if that had an impact. And then when you have 1 or 2 bad games after that, kind of slumped from there a little bit, I think. So I don't think he necessarily is a bad player. It's just one of them loan spells that didn't quite work out for him. He made first team appearances at Liverpool, didn't he? So he's not going to be an awful player. And I think it probably didn't help that we were in such a transition under Russell Martin, where he just needed the defence to be able to pass the ball, like, under so much pressure. It's a lot for a youngster.
Yeah. And I think you also play quite a high line, and he doesn't seem the fastest of defenders as well.
So that's part of the problem, and the transition on the break was getting back, and defending on with that sort of pace, which maybe didn't suit him to his the best of what he can give.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a regular starter here, mainly because our other central defender, who is fast and excellent defensively, Marvin Ekpiteta, just doesn't seem the most confident in possession. And with the way Michael Appleton's wanting us to play, I think he's going to want at least one of the centre-backs to be technically excellent on the ball. I think he also has us in a bit more of a passive low block than Neil Critchley did. So hopefully this will play to Reese's strengths.
Yeah, well, I hope he does well for the Welsh sakes anyway. It'd be good to see him do well. So yeah, quite a few changes. It looks like you've got quite a few loan signings in then, which is something we've been quite used to in recent seasons. Not so much this year yet. Whether that's to our advantage, I'm not sure at the moment, because I think we could do with some. But yeah, we'll see on that. Michael Appleton, I thought was quite interesting, was in charge at Oxford United when we lost to them in 2016 in the Cup. We lost to them, obviously, again this year. So links and all that. But yeah, very interesting. Okay, so we talked about the summer. Perhaps a little bit of upheaval and change that you weren't expecting, which is probably a bit frustrating because it's your second season back up in the Championship now, and it's always like, where can we go from here, sort of thing. But now you kind of fresh start.
And I think it felt like most fans' expectations went from pushing on into kind of top half of the table to surviving again.
Yeah, I saw that in the betting odds as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did, and I know like even podcasts like Not the Top 20 have revised their opinion of us pretty quickly, and that's a shame. And I think also it put our transfer window business back at least 4 weeks, because you had Neil Critchley leave, then 2 weeks to appoint Michael Appleton. He's hardly going to go and pursue new deals until he's got at least 2 weeks with the current squad to figure out what they're about. So it does feel like we're only just getting to the bulk of our business now.
At least we've got a couple of weeks left.
Season. Yeah. Advantage of the World Cup, you've got a couple more weeks in the transfer market after the season started.
So how has the season started for you?
We had a great opening day, which was a 1-0 win over Reading and former Blackpool manager Paul Ince, who is also not held in the highest regard by a lot of Blackpool fans.
Over Tom, is he a popular figure?
Tom was booed every time he touched the ball, so probably not. But I don't think that's as much his fault. Basically, when Ince was managing Blackpool, kind of you'd have 10 men behind the halfway line defending, and Tom Ince was the only player allowed to show any kind of attacking spark. And the game plan was always just funnel it to dear old Thomas.
I find it weird how he just follows him around the Football League.
After our first game, he was like, he started talking about the space there was on our right side to exploit, and how he told Tom to exploit that space, and he was quite happy how Tom made some Raheem Sterling-esque runs. And I'm like,
I just think he's such an overrated player.
Your son has not played like Raheem Sterling.
He done well, I think, when we first went to the Premier League, the Championship before that, he was doing well. I think it might have been with yourselves around then. Mm-hmm. We nearly signed him. I think he went to Stoke instead. And then I think that was when he left you guys. I don't think he's done anything since.
No, I mean, I think he's still Reading's best player, or at least was the best player on the opening day. But again, they're another team like us, expected probably towards the bottom of the table, so it might not be saying much. And then since that 1-0 win against Reading, where we scored in like the first 10 minutes, and we're definitely defending that lead for the rest of the game. We've since lost 2-0 to Stoke, which was disappointing. We were very, very passive off that in that game, sat off them a lot, gave them a lot of space to put in crosses from the left, which we just couldn't deal with. And then we went out of the cup yesterday to Barrow on penalties, following a very drab 0-0 draw.
The cup, eh? Who wants to talk about the cup?
I know. So it's all a bunch of nonsense. You just got to focus on the league.
8 Championship teams lost to lower league opposition last night. So let's, I mean, we're all in the same boat, yeah.
Yeah.
All the fans kicking
Like,
off.
I was like, if it means like a couple of League One and League Two sides can put together a cup run, great. I think we all love to see giant slayers in the cup.
Yeah.
So if this can be a small part of Barrow reaching, a later stage of the Carabao Cup, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. We're just helping them out. That's what we're doing. Okay, so a bit of a hit and miss start to the season. A little bit better than ours, I think. Still, we had a draw at Rotherham, got smashed at home to Blackburn. Not great, and then obviously be put out of the cup after having a 2-0 advantage last night. So it's not all rosy down here. So how do you think this game against you is going to go? Well, against us is going to go on the weekend. How do you think you're going to set up to play? Quite similar to the away day last year, where you got a, I will say, quite like for you, really good 1-0. For us, like very frustrating, boring 1-0 defeat.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, if this was Neil Critchley in charge, I'd be, yes, we are going to put up a really good fight. I'm confident in our chances because I know he would set up the team to press and get in your face and, kind of hold Swansea at arm's length. But I know he'd come in with a game plan that would work.
Yeah.
Like a Rotherham did, like a Blackburn did, kind of not just letting you do your Russell Martin extreme possession thing. Michael Appleton, from what I've seen, has a much more kind of passive, low block style that I'm not sure we have the players for, and I think it's probably going to play into your hands. I think you're probably going to have even more possession than you normally do. It's just whether that's converted into goals, but I don't really see, unless we kind of get a lucky break on a transition from some player somehow, I don't really see us scoring beyond that. I would say it's probably going to be, Swans getting 1 or 2 goals or a very drab 0-0 draw.
Well, we struggle to break down that sort of style of play where you're sitting back and just soaking it all up. We struggle to be clinical and like the final pass to get the opportunity that's going to result in a goal. That's where we're lacking. And the other end of it is where we get caught out all the time is on the counter-attacks where we're pushed up, keeping the ball for like forever. And then you finally pounce on a mistake and are able to run down and get a goal. So you might be surprised. The way that we're going at the moment sounds like that game plan might work for you, but we'll see.
And I think the other thing I'd point out as well, as we talked about the loan signings at the beginning, at the moment on starting midfield is Charlie Patino, an 18-year-old from Arsenal, Lewis Fiorini, a 19-year-old from Manchester City, and Sonny Carey, a 21-year-old who we signed from the Northern Irish League about 2 seasons ago. So we have a very young, very lightweight, but very technical midfield. And, I think if you've got just a little bit of bite or kind of nous about you, the modicum of physicality, you'll probably be able to overrun us. I also know that physicality isn't really the Russ Martin style.
No, it's the only one there that maybe would do that a bit is Jay Felton. I don't think you're going to get much of that from Grimes because he'll be the same as them. He maybe will be a bit less lightweight as them, but he's going to do the same thing where he's just trying to spray the ball around and be technical in the midfield. And then, it's just, I would say, because we only play with the two. Obviously, we've got the wing backs and forwards then, but Felton perhaps maybe will get stuck in a bit, and if he can disrupt them, could work. But if we've got all the ball, there's nothing to disrupt, is there? So
yeah, and that's my concern. My concern is it's going to be like the Simpsons meme about soccer, where it's just the 2 players passing between each other all the time. I worry.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I hope it's a little bit more exciting. I'm not fully optimistic after I started the season, but I've good luck, I guess. Is there anything else as Swansea fans we should be aware of going into this game from a Blackpool perspective?
No, I don't think so. I've highlighted the main points around a lot of upheaval in the squad, slightly more passive managerial style.
Who would you say the one to watch is then? The one player for us to watch?
Josh Bowler. Like Josh Bowler on the right, he is our main, I might even go so far as to say only attacking threat. Like he just adds a degree of unpredictability and excellent dribbling and creativity into the side that nobody else does. He will get the ball on the right, and everybody, including the players on the pitch, know he's going to dribble at his man, and everybody is powerless to stop it and stop that cut inside and him getting that shot off.
But he's going to be up against either Ryan Manning or Sorinola up on the left, so you might have some joy.
I hope so, because he's the only one who ever looks like scoring any goals at the moment. I'm sad to say.
Well, we'll see. Maybe you're going to be a bit happier after the weekend, or maybe we're going to finally sort ourselves out and get something going, because it's not working at the moment. And Russell Martin, I think, is under a bit of pressure. I'm not sure how much you might have seen, but he's had a really torrid start, and the fans are not happy.
It's kind of I was operating on the assumption that it would just take time for his system to click, and he's now had a full summer and it hasn't. How concerned are you guys about that as Swansea fans?
I personally want to wait a little bit more with the games. Like, it's 3 games in, and the cup game, do you even count that properly? I'm starting to get concerned with some of the themes and continuous problems that haven't been addressed. So the main thing is, because he's constantly spoken last year about, well, I need a pre-season, I didn't have one last year, and then we're going to get going. The problem is now, because he said that, a lot of the fans are like, well, you said this and there's still problems, so you kind of dug your own grave a little bit, which is, okay, that's true, but we do need to give him more than 2 games in the league to like really see if it's not clicked. There's been a couple of new signings in key areas in the defence, for example. Sometimes you can just get off to a slow start in the league. It happens. And, for example, go back to the Rotherham game. Obafemi misses a sitter, and then you win that game 2-1. You don't know where you're going to go from there at that point. It could change everything completely. So you've got to give him more than 2 games. But I'm cautious right now. Where I've always backed him last season, I always said, like, this season's transition, we'll see it through where we are. There'll be good bits, there'll be bad bits. We've got to go into next season with progress. He's at the stage now where I think he needs to show in the next couple of games that progress has been made. Otherwise, real questions will start to be asked. I think it'll be fair as well.
And how much, I'm aware you meant to, how much of this is a Russell Martin squad? You signed Harry Darling from MK Dons, who's clearly a Martin player. But, how much of this is a squad that you think would be capable of playing his system? Has he been given that kind of backing as well?
He's had some backing. He did bring some players in last year, and he brought Fisher, the goalie, in January mainly. He still needs a little bit more. The depth isn't there. So it's a struggle sometimes off the bench. We've got to worry about Joel Perreault if he ends up going this season, how we would replace that. But he has had some backing now. So he signed, like, out of the back 3 that we started in last game, 2 of them have come this summer. The wing backs, he signed Sorinola. But then at the same time, our wing back's probably our biggest area of concern still. So we're playing Joe Latibodia on the right wing back role, and he's not. When we kind of focused on our chances coming from there, it's just not what he's going to do. It's our area of probably big weakness, and we are suffering as a result of it. Jay Felton, for example, starting in the middle of the pitch. He's trying to get rid of him after last season, and now he's starting again because Downs has gone, obviously. And I think he's going to stay now. I think he's been brought back into the team. But it's a bit weird, I think, in some areas. He does need a few more players, but he has had investment, so we can't say he hasn't had investment at this point.
Okay. Well, we have a new left back who's probably been one of our best players this season.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I doubt you're going to have even any more look around down the right this game.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, won't it? I mean, your left back, so he's probably going to be up against Perreault or maybe a bit of Patterson and Obafemi just interchanging up there. So we don't conventionally play with our forward players like in the wide areas, which is why we're suffering scoring goals, because we're relying on the wing backs. So if your left back's one of the best players, yeah, I'm not concerned that Latavodi is going to give him much grief, to be honest. Whether he starts, I mean, he's been starting there so far. So if there's a change, if for example, he trusts one of our youngsters, Cameron Congreve, who is on the verge of a breakout season right now, he can play in a wing-back role. It's not his ideal role. He's more of a forward winger, central attacking midfielder, but he can drop back and do it from wing-back as well. If he throws him at the deep end, maybe he'll give him a bit more of a hard time. But that's just the raw talent there. But we'll see. I'm not sure he's going to trust him away to start in that role. So Joel Latterbury is not going to do nothing against your left back if he's in form. But yeah, other than that, then look, it's been great to catch up with you. I'm not sure how much confidence you filled the Swans fans with, but it sounds like you're not too confident too. So let's just hope the game's a little bit more exciting than maybe how we think about our fortunes going into it.
And at least one of us is going to come away from this game, hopefully feeling a little bit better at our sides. So there's always
going to be a drub 0-0, and both sets of fans are going to be just like. Have you got like an air show or something in Blackpool this weekend? Did I read somewhere?
There is Run the Lights. So the Blackpool Illuminations are on.
Right,
and
okay.
There's like a 5K and a 10K run through them.
Yeah, well, there we go then.
Heat. And there might also be fireworks. Sometimes there's a fireworks competition happening at the same time. So
when there's not fireworks on the pitch, there's fireworks in the sky.
Yeah, it might be the only fireworks you see all evening. But yeah, definitely do come around to Blackpool, which is always a good away day.
I wanted
at
to
least
come
it'll be
up
pretty lights, even if the game isn't that great.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. Remind everyone where they can find you on your podcast, if you don't mind.
Yep, it is at Seasiders Podcast, or you can find me individually at Lad All Over.
Go check him out and go check the podcast out as well to go and have a sneak peek of what they're saying ahead of the game on the weekend. But thank you very much for joining us, Conor, and catch up again soon, I guess.
No, brilliant. Thanks,
Luke. Thank you very much.